It's Shell Zenner with you on Amazing Radio, and every week I am so lucky to catch up with an artist that I have on repeat on my playlist. And Sofy is one of those artists, been obsessed with her since I heard Strawberry Milkshake back in 2021. She joins me now for a catch up. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
So glad to speak to you finally. You've had a really busy 2022, haven't you? What have you been up to?
Oh, I've had loads on. So I released my first EP in February and then had my first ever headline show, and then I went round the festival circuit for the first time, which was amazing. And now I'm just sort of sitting, releasing some more music, ready for my next EP in January. So
So
yeah,
what
bookending the year with the two EPs, which is nice.
Amazing. That is a constructive year. What are the biggest lessons you've learned then in 2022?
The biggest lesson I've learned in 2022 is not to sleep next to my keyboard player James in a tent ever again, because he pissed all over all of my stuff at Boardmasters in the middle of the night. And it was a new bag, a new rucksack that I just got for my birthday from my mum, and
With
it
your
got
sleep
soaked.
weird.
Yeah, he was. He's gonna hate me for saying this on the radio, but he deserves it. This is his comeuppance.
Okay, so you mentioned new EP in 2023. Can you tell us anything about that?
Yeah, I'd love to. So the EP is Board in Colour Part 2, which is the second part of my first EP, which is Board in Colour Part 1. Yeah, very, very clever. Yeah, it's just basically an extension of the first EP, just songs I've been working on over the last year or so. But I feel like it's a bit more of like a taste of what's to come, from the music I've been working on this year. Like it's a bit more like indie vibes, a bit more upbeat, songs that you want to hear at a festival, basically.
Amazing sofa on the front of Boarding Colour Part 1 as well. What can you tell us about that setup? It looks a little bit pop-tastic.
Oh God, I actually that chair was the bane of my life. I think I shipped it from I mean, I shouldn't really be saying this, it's not very ethical, but I think I shipped it from China. Because you can't find them anywhere in the UK, and I really wanted one because I was like, the whole reason why we wanted to have that chair is because I wanted the noughties, 90s nostalgia. And I remember having one of those chairs when I was little, and I thought I'd be able to find one so easily, but yeah, they don't sell them in the UK. So I shipped it from China and paid a very expensive shipping fee, but it's worth it because it looks great.
Inflatable chair though. I think I had the inflatable sofa in blue. I think we all probably had something inflatable at that point.
Yeah, honestly, such a vibe. And I wish I could fit it in my flat now, but unfortunately it's too small.
And
But
it's
maybe when I move, I've got it under my bed ready to pop up at any moment. So we'll see.
ready for party times, I reckon.
Yeah, exactly.
So Boarding Colour Part 2, are we going to get a similar or, alternating piece of furniture on the artwork for that?
The chair might be back for round 2. That's all I'm saying. The chair might be back for round 2. Got to get my money's worth, Shell.
I mean, the thing I love about your sound, it is always incredibly infectious. It is always really upbeat. So if I'm having a rubbish day, it's always going to make me feel that little bit brighter. What is it about the genre of music that you make and the vibe of your music that makes you want to just bring almost sunshine to people's lives?
Oh, that's such a nice way of putting it. I don't know, to be honest. I think it's probably comes from the fact that everyone who I write with, I'm really close friends with, and whenever we make songs, we just have so much fun. So I guess it kind of just shines through in the music. It's not intentional, but I'm really happy that it makes you feel that way.
No, honestly, sometimes it is about meeting the right people, isn't it? So who's in your
Yeah,
inner circle that you write and record with?
Rob and Amy from Gold Spectacles, who I met on Zoom actually in lockdown, the second lockdown, beginning of last year. And I wrote the majority of the first EP with them. They're just amazing songwriters, amazing people. We're now really close friends, which is so nice. And then I do a lot with Ed, my bassist from my band, who's also an amazing producer. So we're always just around each other's houses, just making songs. James, the keyboard player who pissed all over my stuff, he's got a co-write on one of my tracks from this EP. And also another guy called Scott, Good Scott, who I started working with like a bit more at the back end of last year and this year, and we've been working on some really cool stuff together. So yeah, it's just like one big happy music family. Like we all go out together, we all like go to the pub together, we all basically like live in each other's pockets now, so it's really nice.
So how did you get into music then? How did you realize you had this talent?
I don't know, it's kind of random. Like I got furloughed in lockdown, like the first lockdown in 2020, and I was just really bored. And I've always liked making noise and stuff. Like I was that little kid who used to like put on concerts with my mum in the living room with the tennis racket. But I think there's videos of it somewhere. But I've never really like thought about I could pursue it as a career or anything, because I've not got any like music training or anything. And I guess I thought it was a bit inaccessible. And then in lockdown, I just had loads of time on my hands. So I started making beats on Splice. Well, not on Splice, using samples from Splice. So I didn't have to play any instruments. I started making beats on GarageBand. And then I just realized that I love writing songs. And it kind of spiraled from there.
Because you originally grew up in Leicester, didn't you? Because I'm from Leicester.
Yeah.
And I know that in the Leicester scene, like there's some good venues there, and there's been some great venues like appearing over the last few years, but we've also lost a lot of venues over the last
Yeah,
few.
R.I.P. the cookie. R.I.P.
Is it
It's not the same
gone?
anymore.
No.
It's been replaced by something else. Not as good. No offense.
The cookie was actually the real pinnacle of where you could find new music, really. I mean, we'd lost like venues like the Charlotte years and years ago, but I thought there was becoming a renaissance in Leicester. But are you still in Leicester, or are you down south now?
No, I'm in London now. But my family and my boyfriend are still up there, so I back all the time. Still yet to go to a Leicester game since they've been in the Prem, which is a shame because I'm a big fan.
Are you? You're a Foxes fan?
Yeah, it's impossible to get tickets now. We used to have a season ticket, me and my dad, when from the ages of like me being between like 4 and 17, I had a season ticket. And the only year that we didn't get a season ticket was when I went to uni, and that's the year that they won the Prem.
So I'm guessing when you grew up in Leicester, you know, it's not the most musical place, is it really? So maybe that's why it's taken you time away from Leicester to kind of evolve and develop your sound and get really excited and into it. Splice is an interesting way to get into it. Would not have seen that coming though. Were many other people you knew at the time using Splice?
Before I started doing music, I had absolutely no friends in music whatsoever. So I don't really know, to be honest. I think Splice is quite a lot of producers use Splice for like samples and stuff, and like you can get really good just like loops of like guitars and drums, which when you can't play instruments like me, really good. So I would actually recommend anyone who wants to like try and start songwriting but isn't sure where to start, then yeah, Splice is really good for those of you who aren't like got the music theory on lock like me.
I love how relatable you are. I mean, your lyricism always comes across to me as super relatable as well. So you're just feeding real life narratives into our kind of our atmosphere, aren't you?
Doing my best. Yeah, I feel like I don't know, I don't really know what else to write about apart from stuff that I've like either experienced or something my friends have experienced or stuff that I've like overheard on the train or whatever. This is stuff that I definitely find the most fun to write about. I'm not saying every single one of my songs has happened to me. A lot of them are like hypothetical, but like, yeah, I find just like writing about real life situations and making up stories about people is so fun. So expect a lot more about that in the future.
The last single we heard was Egomaniac. What can you tell us about that?
Egomaniac is kind of like inspired by the film John Tucker Must Die, but imagining that male protagonist is like a London boy. So like the egomaniac, of course you want your hoodie back. Guess you should have thought of that lyric. It's basically like a really angry breakup song. When you end it with someone and then you kind of realize that they were just a dick for the whole time, basically. And the next song that I'm putting out, by the way, is sort of like the antithesis to that. It's like the breakup song where you ended a relationship, it was no one's fault, and you've both got like a lot of love for each other. So I think it's really nice to have those two sitting like on the same project, just like the two prongs of breakups. Obviously there's a whole spectrum of breakups, but these are just the two like other opposite ends of that spectrum.
And they're both on the EP, are they?
They are, yeah.
Amazing. I mean, I love the artwork for Egomaniac. So it's like, is that a Game Boy? Is it like looking at your Instagram at the artwork? Game Boy. Like,
Yeah, Game Boy inspired. I can't say it's actually a Game Boy, or else I might get in trouble for the old IP rights. But that's definitely what inspired it for sure.
Are you into your gaming? And obviously mention you've been on the FIFA soundtrack as well. So do things like that really matter to you? Like, you know, do you get excited when things like that happen?
Oh yeah, the FIFA soundtrack was like the best moment ever. I wasn't expecting to get it, to be honest, because like obviously I'm like so new to the scene. But FIFA are so good for that, for just like giving platforms to artists that maybe wouldn't usually get them. And yeah, I've played FIFA with my brothers and my dad since I was like a little kid, and I found some of my favorite bands on FIFA. So it makes me really happy to think that Big Talk might be the same for someone else.
So EP coming early 2023. What's the plan next year then? If you've already been through your first summer of festivals, are we going to see a headline tour, maybe with some tour dates a little bit further north?
I would love that. Yeah, I'm definitely hoping to get up north like properly next year. I'm playing Liverpool Sound City in April, which is kind of closer, but yeah, I want to come up to Manny at some point soon. I think there's definitely a headline tour like on the cards, just like figuring out when that's going to be. And yeah, I'm gonna be coming up north for sure. And for the rest of the year, I don't know, go with the flow, see what happens. Like every year I always say world domination, so we'll see what happens next year. World domination, I guess.
Yeah, maybe some European dates would be good, I guess, or maybe working towards an album or working with some labels or something would be good.
I mean, yeah, these are all things I would love. So if anyone wants to do that with me, let me know. Let's manifest it. That would be great.
Yes, let's make it happen. Oh, thank you so much for catching up with me.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was so nice to chat to you.